Welcome to Fast Tip Friday. This is Amy Bowser-Rollins with Litigation Support Guru. In today's tip, I want to show you some tips for searching in Google. So the first thing I want to show you is Google Scholar. You can just Google it, and you'll find Google Scholar. So here's the opening screen, and in this example, we're going to click on Case Law, and then we're going to click on Select Courts. And then we're going to click on Georgia and then scroll back up and click on Done. And then we're going to enter some keywords. So negligence, trespassing, swimming pool. So this is an example of search results you can get for searching against Google Scholar in the Georgia courts for cases related to these keywords. Okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is Google Advanced Search. And again, just go to Google and search for a Google Advanced Search. This is a dialog box that can prompt you for different types of searches if you don't know how to do them manually. So in this example, if you want all of the words, you would enter it with spaces. A space is equal to an and. And then a phrase would be like this in quotes. And then any of the words you have to put an or, otherwise it's going to think it's an and. If you want none of these words, for instance, you're searching for a couple of words and then you don't want a third word. In other words, the third term is giving you false hits. So you're searching for something and you see there's a lot of false hits, so you find a word, a common denominator in the false hits, and you exclude that from your search. This one's kind of cool because you can search for, this one's the one that I use the most. It's a date range. So with 2 dots, you can do, I want to find everything between this year and that year. Another one I use a lot is the file type search. So in this dialog box, you can just choose the file type, but I actually use the syntax to, it's file type one word and then a colon, and then the file type that I want. But this is a good starter place if you're trying to figure out exactly how to run searches in Google. The most important thing when running searches in Google or in any document database you have is think fewer words. The fewest words possible are going to get you the best hits. So you're going to leave out extraneous words and you're not going to type in a question. All right, so the third thing I want to show you is the Google Guide. Again, search Google for Google Guide. You'll get this website. So the first thing I want to show you is this button right here, Novices, click here. When you click on that, you get to here. And you can see there's a whole long list of things that it'll show you how to do, which is really cool. And if you scroll down here, you'll see selecting search terms, interpreting your query, using special characters, some of the different operators you can use. There's a whole bunch of good stuff here. So I want to go over a few of them. One is selecting search terms. So this says the same thing I was just saying earlier. Less words, the better. But this gives you examples. So it says use this, not that. So for instance, if this is the search you want right here, you don't need does and you don't need have. So just search for the thing that you want to search for. In this example, you don't need to search for documentation on, just put in LASIK eye surgery. Okay? You'll find what you want easier the less words you use. Okay, so this is saying it again, only differently. Be specific. And then this one's saying brevity, which is the same thing. So you get the idea. Some people want to put in way too many words and they end up not finding what they want. Many paralegals and attorneys have come to me saying, I'm searching the database for a certain document. I know it exists. I know it's in there and I can't find it. And I run a search and I find it right away because I've used less words. All right, so interpreting your query. if I scroll down here, it's basically telling you that if you search for these words, it's not going to find these words. And there is a way to find things like that. We'll do that in a second. But in case you didn't know, you can search for NYC and it'll automatically do New York City. So there's a couple of little things that are built into Google. I wanted to talk about stop words. If you're searching document databases, you might already know about stop words, but stop words are the common words that are in a sentence that we leave out. And there's a whole bunch of stop words. Every database you use may have a different list of stop words, but like the, on, where, like they, there's a whole bunch of stop words. So if you put those words in your search, it's not going to look for them. So don't even bother putting them in. In case you didn't know, that you can only put up to 32 words. I don't know why you would have a search that's 32 words, but just so you know. And then this one's kind of cool because it searches for things that are nearby. It finds pages that are close to it and finds, it's interesting. Just read this part and you'll see what it is. And then there's no case sensitivity in Google. All right, so this one is, I'm singling this out. There's a whole bunch of them here listed, but I'm singling this one out because it's very useful. The tilde, which is on the top left of your keyboard, if you search for tilde and then inexpensive, then you'll get synonyms, which is really cool. Very helpful. All right. So then if we're back on this page, I also want to show you this link right here, which is a cheat sheet. So this is the cheat sheet. It's a 2-page PDF. You can download it and keep it near your desk. It summarizes some of the things we already went over. And it has some other stuff, like if you happen to be searching for a movie, which is not work related, I'm sure, you can type movie : and then put a keyword that's in the title. But down here, I wanted to show you this part, which is all in title. So if you're searching for words, if you want to search for words that are specifically in the title of the page, you can use this all in title. And then another one is the all in URL. I've used this one before too. You know it's in, the name is in the URL and you're just looking for words that are in the URL only. Okay? And last but not least, Google Alerts. You should know about Google Alerts. When I was at my last firm, one of my Google Alerts was my firm name. I got an email about something where our firm was mentioned, and I would forward it to a partner, and I was the first one telling him that it existed. So that was kind of cool. But I've been using Google Alerts a long time. First thing you should create a Google Alert for is variations of your name, so you can see if someone mentions you. So this is how they work. This is a description of how they work. It's connected to your Gmail account. So you actually log in to your Gmail account and then go to Google Alerts by Googling it and then create a new one. So you can create an alert. Here's the instructions for doing it. You can edit them after they exist. It's very easy to do. A couple things when you go to create one, it'll ask you how often you want them. So that's this. I usually say as it happens, but to each his own. The sources are like blog posts versus web versus news items. But like it says here, I keep it on automatic like it suggests because I want pretty much anything on the internet. This is an option also that's available. Best results are all the results. I've tried both. I haven't really gotten a lot of crap by choosing all results, so that one works pretty well. So it's another thing if you have things that are going on in a particular case, or there's people that you want to make sure you find out every time something's posted on the internet about them, or company names, or phrases like I do litigation support. I do litigation support training, for instance. So I hope you can put this all to good use.